So before this video starts, I just want to say two things. First off, it's officially 2019, and I just want to thank you guys so much for such an amazing year in 2018. Seriously, I appreciate you guys so much, and 2018 has easily been one of the best years, if not the best year of my life. YouTube has been absolutely amazing and a blast to do, and I am so excited for 2019. 2019 is going to be such an amazing year for this channel, and I'm glad it's finally here. As well, shout out to Ibra Wayne for the video idea. I was in my live stream, and Ibra Wayne commented saying, "Is Ash Blossom Joyous Spring worth it?" So I'm like, hey, that's a great video idea. Let me make it into a video. So anyways, with that intro out of the way, or yeah, I guess intro to the intro. With that intro out of the way, thank you guys so much for an amazing 2018, and let's make 2019 even better. So Ash Blossom Joyous Spring has always seen play ever since it was released in 2017's set Maximum Crisis. And with that set, we were introduced one of the greatest, if not the greatest, hand trap of all time. Maybe this card isn't as good as Max C, that's up for debate. However, Ash Blossom Joyous Spring is 100% an absolutely amazing card. It's a big staple in today's format, and overall is just such a good card. But in today's video, with the price tag of $100 for 3 copies of this card, I gotta ask the question, is Ash Blossom Joyous Spring worth it in 2019? You probably already know Ash Blossom Joyous Spring's effect, but just in case, it's a level 3 fire zombie tuner with 0 attack, 1800 defense, and the following effect. When a card or effect is activated that includes any of these effects, quick effect, you can discard this card and negate that effect. Add a card from the deck to hand, special summon from deck, or send a card from the deck to the graveyard. You can only use this effect of Ash Blossom Joyous Spring once per turn. So as you can probably tell from its effect, this card basically negates any effect that is reliant on the deck. So adding a card from deck to hand, this can include drawing, by the way, special summoning from deck, or sending a card from the deck to the grave. The only thing this card misses is banishing from deck, but that's very uncommon, and you'll only see that in really a card like Gold Sarcophagus. So Ash Blossom Joyous Spring has almost always been relevant in the Yu-Gi-Oh meta. As I've already stated, this card was released in the set Maximum Crisis. If you don't remember, Maximum Crisis is the set that also introduced new Zodiac support after Raging Tempest. Raging Tempest is the set that introduced Zodiacs, but Maximum Crisis also introduced the archetype True Draco. And obviously, as we all know, True Draco is probably the best stun deck of all time. Unless you're considering like Altergeist as a stun deck, for example, but that's more of a control deck. But that's besides the point. The thing is, actually, Ash Blossom wasn't relevant on release. The issue with Ash Blossom Joyous Spring was the fact that you couldn't only negate a card like Broad Bull or the Luna Light combo, etc. And really, in any of those cases, it didn't really get you that far. Like, sure, I could Ash, for example, Broad Bull, but then they're gonna set up Dryden, and it was basically a neg-1 regardless. Plus, if they have any Zodiac in hand for the follow-up for next turn, Ash was basically a useless card. So Ash wasn't relevant in that format, regardless of the fact that it was actually really good against True Draco Demise. Obviously, throughout history, it's always been good against True Draco Demise, but the thing is, True Draco Demise did not have enough representation in that format to warrant Ash Blossom being main. As well, the fact is, Ash Blossom couldn't be used against the second most popular deck, or arguably the first most popular deck. It's debatable between Pure Zodiac and True Draco Zodiac, but that's besides the point. True Draco Zodiac was another deck that used the Zodiac engine, and in which case Ash was not that effective against. From there, after Zoo was hit on the September 2017 ban list, Pendulum Magician and True Draco Demise took over, and from there, Ash Blossom became much more relevant. Ash Blossom would be seen in the first place UDS deck profile from Jeff Jones in his Pendulum Magician list. It would be seen with other decks, and just overall, if you have to play one hand trap in that format, and from there on out in general, you would probably play Ash Blossom. Obviously, you would also play Max C, but that's a one-of, so it's kind of different, but you get my point. So basically, from this point onwards, Ash would just become a staple in basically every deck. One reason for this is Ash is obviously a hand trap, but it can negate so many different cards. It serves a role that basically no other card in the game can serve. So what do I mean by this? Seriously, name me another card that is a quick effect like Ash and stops any of these effects. Seriously though, there is not one other card in the game, there's not a trap, don't quote me on that, there's not a trap in this game that fills the same role as Ash Blossom. There's Impermanence, but that's very similar to Effect Veiler. However, Ash Blossom serves a purpose that Infinite Impermanence does not serve, and that is being able to have the vast versatility. Even though Infinite Impermanence is a negation of monster effects, that doesn't change the fact that Ash can hit virtually any card in the game. Not every card in the game, but it can at least be used against every deck in some way, shape, or form. Some examples of cards this format in particular that Ash Blossom is good against is, for example, Engage, Shared Ride, Pot of Desires, Brilliant Fusion, Multi-Faker, Mel-UC, Neospace Connector, Malicious, Prank Hits House, and so many other cards. If you open an Ash Blossom in your hand, you have the power to negate so many good cards it's not even funny. One way you could put it is Ash will always be live against any deck, as I've already stated. And while it excels in some matchups, a big one being the Sky Striker matchup, this card will always be able to do something in every matchup. Regardless of how effective Ash may be, it will always be able to hurt the opponent in some way. One other thing to note is it negates the effect. So the reason why this can be relevant is it says effect instead of activation. The reason why I mention this is because if it negated the activation, that means if the spell card, for example, said you can only activate one copy of this card per turn, that means your opponent can activate a second copy. Basically, if you negate the activation of it, that means you never technically activated it, so you can go for a second one. It's basically how there's a difference between use this card once per turn and activate this card once per turn. So it is relevant that it does say effect. So, as I've explained, Ash is a very efficient card in what it does and is absolutely amazing. However, regardless of how good it is it worth it? Ash Blossom is currently around $33 in price for the Shadows in Valhalla copy, making a playset basically $100 if you round up the 99 to 100. This card is also getting reprinted in dual power, so you could technically wait until then to buy the reprint of this card. As well, the Salomon Great Structure deck is coming up soon, which means we might be getting a common reprint of Ash in that structure deck. I say might because it's not necessarily confirmed as of now. It's in the structure deck in the OCG, but us TCG players will never truly know until the structure deck comes out in the TCG. For anyone watching when the structure deck reprints are confirmed, if Ash is in there, 100% buy the reprint in the structure deck. Either as an investment that will go up, I guarantee that Ash will go up if it's reprinted in that structure deck, or it's just a playset for you to actually use in general. However, if it isn't reprinted in the Salomon Great Structure deck, $100 does seem like it could be a hefty investment. However, here is the thing. If you've ever watched my Boral Sword Is It Worth It, you would notice that I mentioned that it's something you would call a staple card. And the same thing applies to Ash. Ash is as well probably the biggest staple card in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! As of right now. Regardless of it being $100, that's honestly a small price to pay for honestly one of the most important stable cards of all time in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! If you're running hand traps, you run Ash. However, if you aren't playing at any premiere events and you don't need to buy Ash right now, I would wait until April for dual power. It might not decrease the price that significantly, but it 100% will decrease the price. And if you can wait until then, I would do so. Or again, best case scenario, it's in the Salomon Great Structure deck. Even then, however, if you plan on going to locals every week, then you want to buy Ashes. Think about it this way. If you buy Ashes now, those can help you win more locals, in turn more prizing, in turn more value, and eventually you should be able to make your money back as long as you do well. At a point, there needs to be a realization whether you rather invest $100 now and get 4 extra months of play with Ash, rather than waiting 4 months and doing worse because you're playing something else over Ash. So really, here's my verdict. Ash is 100% worth it. There is no question about it. However, the other question is, how do you maximize value? Well, I would wait until the reprints are confirmed for the Salomon Great Structure deck. And once that happens, if they're reprinted in that structure deck, then you made the right call in waiting it out and basically saved $100. I mean, probably less, however, as the structure deck common will probably be like $3 to $5. So more like saving $85 to, I don't know, like $91. but that's still significant regardless. If it isn't reprinted in the structure deck, then I would recommend purchasing them then and there, depending on how often you go to locals like I described earlier. And if you don't go to locals that often, then wait for dual power. Or if you have any premiere events coming up like YCS Chicago for example, then definitely pick them up before the event so you're ready going into it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you want your idea featured in the next video, comment down below with your idea and I might just feature it as the next idea in my next video, and your comment will also be featured. If you guys want to support me further than just watching my YouTube videos, go down into the description and support me on Patreon. It helps out quite tremendously. As well, if you guys want to join me and other members of the BladeYGO community even further than the YouTube comment section, go down into the description and join my Discord server. I'd love to have you guys there. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and with that, I hope to see you soon.